Hi, good morning, and welcome to the ZP webinar on Sense It All. So we like to do this webinar weekly, and it's really just to kind of discuss questions or discuss scenarios regarding Sense It All that have come up during the week. So this week we're really focused on pH monitoring, and by pH monitoring I should say calibration pH monitoring. And I'm also discussing, strictly speaking, the number of units required in order to do this. So let me just do a bit of a background. If you're interested in Sense It All or sensing in general, don't forget the workshops. We're in December now, so we're getting closer to December, so there's a couple of workshops in December. I hope to see some of you there. Again, I'll put the link underneath the video so you can find that, so I'll go quickly on that. We do have these, I think, quite important free webinars running as well. So there is a Sense It All webinar on the 13th of December, and there's also a Julie Cloud webinar. And it's also worth seeing the Food Sense webinar as well, because that gives you a demonstration of real-world application of some of the science and technology that we do at ZP. If you want to see how it really plays out in the hands of real users, then I would definitely suggest coming to that webinar. That said, I go again, links there so you can find you can sign up for that. As I say, specifically there is a Sense It All webinar on the 13th of December. Truly hope that some of you will come to that, especially if you're interested in kind of doing this kind of calibration free pH monitoring. That would be a good webinar to come to. If you want to meet with ZP and to find out about electrochemical sensing and commercialization in general, we do have an event running called S Cubed in the UK on the 24th of June 2024. I'll put a link, and I realize that there is a link here, and I'll make sure that that link makes underneath the web page as well. We also do workshops, so as long as you can kind of raise about 20 people, then it makes sense to have a workshop from ZP as well. So today I will talk about the Sense It All platform. The Sense It All platform has lots of configurations. It has an optical one, it has a, well, I call it a spectroscopic one. We have the electrochemical platform, which is what we're discussing today. It also has a wearables platform as well. So I will be talking about the electrochemical one. If you've got an Android smartphone, you can scan this QR code and it will take you to an app on the Play Store. If you want to pause the video, obviously pause the video now, and you can scan that QR code. That'll become more significant later on, because we do these calibration-free pH measurements, which I will be discussing. Now, the Sense It All platform is a handheld device. It has a very elegant user experience. So when you turn it on, there's a light button. When you make Bluetooth connection with it, it goes blue. When it's running the assay, I think it's flashing green. And when it's uploaded the data, it goes green. Now, the nice thing about the Sense It All platform is it puts all the data, even the pH data, into the cloud. And that's significant when you're trying to do sort of monitoring of pH in different places or different locations, so that you know where all your data is. And you can even have other people collecting data, and you know where all the data is because it's all going up to the cloud. So we do have this very elegant solution. Though I'm going to show three pieces of hardware here, the one I really want to talk about is the electrochemical platform. So you have some sample, you want to measure the pH of it. Today we're going to talk, strictly speaking, about the electrochemical one. So that app, that Sense It All app that I discussed earlier on, that app is available for download, and that app will drive these three pieces of hardware, though I'm only really focusing on the electrochemical one today. The app will tell the assay will tell the meter what to do. The meter will give the data back to the app. The app will upload it to Julie, and then actually you'll get a result, be it millimoles, ppm, or pH, depending on the assay that's run. What's really nice about it as well, it's got an API associated with it. An API, by the way, is a way of getting data off our cloud into your cloud. But you can also just manually download the data. But also it means that if you've got any problems, you can share the data with us as well. In terms of hardware, you can get a sense of the hardware in this video here. It's got a really elegant, especially if you're dealing with sort of samples like soil, where essentially things can get a little bit dirty. Then you can put the sensor in there. If the meter gets dirty for some reason, you can then just take it apart, give it a clean, and reassemble it. Do come to one of our webinars, because you will see that this is a really quite an elegant system, where we're running samples, putting samples on there, and then actually it's going to the cloud. This is Julie, and you can hear the assay that they're running is voltammetry, but you can see that that raw data's in the cloud as well. Here, I'm actually just making the point, but you can do this experiment for yourself, or this test for yourself, where it's in a test, I would say. We have the app, but by going to these different QR codes, it basically reads the QR code and reskins the app and changes the method file for the new analyte. So we can keep going between analytes, which is significant because these people want to do pH in soil, but I would also argue that they may want to do NPK, nitrate, phosphate, and potassium. And I will cover that shortly as well. Just to say that if you do come to the Sense It All webinar, it's not all talking. There are live demonstrations done at that Sense It All webinar, and we talk about where the data goes to the cloud as well. So it's it is an experience, and it's not just me chatting. The nice thing about the Sense It All platform, even though we may only be talking about pH today, it will work with others of our sensors. And again, if a link pops up, then I'll put that link underneath the video. The only thing I would say is even though ZP might have over 40 sensors, for every application, applications are quite unique. So there is some effort that you have to put in order to kind of close the gap between the sensors that we have and the way that they work in your app. But if you're using the Sense It All in your application, but if you're using the Sense It All platform, the nice thing is we get all the data, so we can really sort of troubleshoot and close that gap. So again, here's that QR code that will bring you to what's on the Play Store. And these QR codes will then demonstrate to you that you can actually change between assays just by scanning those codes. So nitrate is here, ginger is here, for example, chili's here. And I also saw that we had TAS, total antioxidative status, is here as well. Just to talk about the number of units you want. So Sense It All is really a kind of point of need test. So even though I'm showing a kind of industrial process here, you could think of this as strips in a field or a horticultural setting as well. But Sense It All can go in there, and you can take a sample here, 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 for example, and you'll get essentially 5 results. Great. Now that makes Sense It All. It's quick. It's fairly low cost to own. The data's all put to the cloud. You can have a collaboration with us because we can see the data. There's lots of benefits to it. I can see the problem when you've got multi-sites. So, for example, you're working in a city in the southwest of Germany, and then you're trying to work in the northeast of Germany, and then you're trying to work in the northwest of Germany, for example. I can understand that they're geographically quite separated. So the Sense It All at that point demands 3 units. Now, the beautiful thing is that even if you're working on these 3 sites, all that data will then come to the same centralized place, and you can look at that data coming up in real time. It really is real time, so that's pretty cool. But I do understand that actually the cost of that could be prohibitive. Just before I go into costs, I do want to say that we are discussing pH monitoring today. Just know that things like nitrate, phosphate, potassium, ammonium, urea, calcium are also available. But start with pH. We do have a pH kit, but I do understand that, having 3 of these on 3 sites. So I think it's worth contacting us if you're going to have multiple sites and understand, what a sort of a discount would look like when you've got more than 1 unit. So I just want to say thank you very much. So if you've got any questions about Sense It All and its and the fact that it's got a very broad range of sensors that can be brought to it, and it has a very sort of dare I say, 2024 kind of connectivity in terms of being able to send all the data to the cloud, then I think it's pretty compelling. Don't forget there is a webinar, and I think it's the 14th of December for Sense It All. But in the meantime, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Okay, thanks very much.